me and Jackie, we were doing the pizza dough thing for a while. You make it yourself. We did what we did was cast iron pizza, so it was kind of like I guess it would technically be a pan pizza. It was done in the cast iron pan, and it's very good. You put a little bit of butter down. You put the pizza sauce in there. You're making your own sauce.
Yeah, the half hour it took. That's it.
That's nice. Well, I mean, not to put anything out there, but your last name is Casterline. You're one of the gabagools. Hey, gabagool. Yeah. So you sitting there on a Friday making your own sauce. Hey, I got to make my own sauce here for the week. Hey, what you do? We're gonna have a Sunday dinner. Make my own pizza. What you gonna do? Hey, gabagool. Is that offensive? Does that come across as offensive? I have no idea.
Well, better that we practice with it now, so when we get monetized, we come, both barrels.
So that we can just knock it off. Also, Jimbo, real quickly, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this, and I don't want to do this. But is it time we put Seattle in the fraud category?
Here's my thing: is like I never if we're gonna put a team in fraud, it's like they came out hot that they're like, oh my God, they're Super Bowl contenders, and now they're mid tier. I don't know if I would consider them fraud, but I think we're starting to see they are who we thought they were. Well,
I don't know. Listen, Gino once said that people wrote him off and he didn't write back. But after seeing some of those overthrown passes he had yesterday for picks, Gino might warm up that pen just a little bit. Welcome to the Friday Forecast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your boy King. That is your good friend Jimbo right over there. And this is our weekly picks and prediction show where we go ahead and look at the upcoming slate for the week. Now, we already made our picks for Thursday, clearly, on the main show on Wednesday. And despite Jimbo's lack of remembering, he did pick the 49ers. That was something you did. So I had to go in and fix your picks for that because you were like, I put down Seattle. Wait, did I pick Seattle or did I pick? I was like, you picked San Francisco on the show. Do I have to go back and look at it? But we both picked San Francisco. San Francisco does win in a game that seems all too familiar when it comes to the 49ers, is that they got out big. Even in the second half, they were able to get, they had a 20-point lead. They were winning 23-3. And then Seattle had a dynamic kickoff return for a touchdown, which was cool. That's the first one we ever had on the show, so that's pretty awesome. And Seattle came all the way back to where they were at first 6 points down, and then towards the end of the game they were only 5 points down. And it's like San Francisco gets into these games where they look good and they get up big and then they fall apart. Did it to the Rams. They did it with the Cardinals. And now they almost did it to Seattle. They were able to pull it out. But that's why I was kind of asking there before. Is it time now we start looking at Seattle and start putting them on the fraud alert? Because who we thought they were the first 3 weeks, and even after week 4 when they lost to the Lions, we were like, they played the Lions well. They looked like they could be, they're going to be one of those teams. And then then they've lost 3 straight, obviously, to the Lions, to the Giants last week, and now to the 49ers. So from 3-0 to 3-3, I know right now they have the same record as the 49ers, but the Niners, I don't want to put it in fraud alert yet because they still have so many injuries, and they have so many pieces that are going to be coming back. CMC, we think eventually will play this year. We have no idea. It could happen. I don't know. But that could, that's one thing that can happen. Also, we have Ricky Pearsall has been given a clearance for a practice window, so he can come back now. Remember, he's the man who was shot in the chest and walked it off like a boss.
Was back in the weight room, the next day or
he
something?
Was like you saw the video of directly after it happened. He's just walking into the ambulance like, what? Hey, leave me alone, man. I gotta go. I got a game coming up. I gotta go to practice. It's like, sir, you've been shot through the chest. That's all right. I can still get it. It's all right. No. I doubt it was like that, but still, my God, my man was My man was there. So he's going to be practicing now. Who would have thought that getting shot through the chest was less of an injury than what CMC has?
Yeah, go figure it out.
Holy shit.
I mean, CMC had to go to Germany to figure out what's going on.
So stupid. But anyway, so the Niners do win. Seahawks lose again, 3 straight. That's rough to do. But we have a whole slate of other games here. So let's just jump on into it. Let's go take a look at what we have over here. Oh, let me pop these up here. Okay, and that's already up there. So we see right now we have the Niners game. We already know that one, so we can move that down. The next game we have up is going to be the London game, which I am not doing this week. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Chicago Bears. And Jimbo, we both have the Jaguars on this one. Surprising that we both have the Jaguars. As the Bears are currently have an 85% pick margin with the public. Why did you pick the Jaguars?
Jacksonville's 1-4, Bears 3-2, but it's we're talking about frauds with Seattle. I think the Bears' record is some of a fraud. Like it's misleading. I don't think they're a 3-2 team. I think maybe they got lucky in a couple of games, and that's why they pulled out a couple of those wins. And I mean, Jacksonville's due. At some point, they gotta put things together.
They played well last week. Trevor Lawrence had his probably best game all year, and they were able to go ahead and beat a very game Colts team with Flacco at the helm, which I think makes the Colts a better team. Unfortunately, I like Anthony Richardson, but he needs time still, I think, to develop. So I agree with that. Like the Bears do scream to me like they are not a 3-2 team. Like I get that.
Yeah.
But you are what your record says you are. As we said that with some of the other teams. The other teams have bad records. Other teams have good records. Like you are what your record says you are. And for right now, they are 3-2. And I don't know. For me, it was one of those things like they're going over to London. The Jaguars are used to this. This is their yearly thing. They go over there. They play there twice a year. Like they got another game coming up next week as well over there in London. So it's like this is old hat for them. This is the Bears going over there. This is going to be Caleb Williams' first time. I think there's going to be a lot of the players their first time going over to London, doing an international game. So how does that affect them? Does it at all? I mean, we'll find out. And I know it seems weird to be picking the Jaguars and saying like, I think the Jaguars have an advantage because it's London, but it really feels like it's a Jaguars home game because again they're used to making that trip. They've done it before. Yeah. They do it year after year after year. So everyone that is on that roster, other than like rookies and maybe some free agents that they have done this before. They've made this trip. And if Trevor Lawrence can put together a game like he had last week against the Colts. And again, I'm not necessarily going to say the Colts are a better team than the Bears, but I don't think they're a worse team than the Bears are. So that was my feeling with it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Again, could we be absolutely wrong by looking at our records? Yes, there's a very good chance that we might be wrong. But that's why we do. That's why we pick the games. You pick to win the games. Hello? All right, Herm. Next game coming up is what everybody is considering going to be, or wants it to be, the game of the week. They wanted this one to be on Sunday night to replace the Giants and Bengals. Everybody is pissed off about Giants and Bengals being on Sunday night. Everybody's upset with CBS for not allowing this game to be switched. But if you're CBS, would you switch this game?
Yeah, exactly.
No, this is going to be a massive ratings game. The Washington Commanders, the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders, actually, the Landover football team of Redskin Commanders, making a trip just over there to Beltway, down to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens. We both have the Ravens winning this game, despite Washington being red hot with Jaden Daniels as not only a Rookie of the Year candidate, but actually a legitimate MVP candidate right now as we're entering Week 6. Jimbo, why did you end up picking the Ravens?
I think it's basically just two things for me. The Ravens seem like offensively they finally figured it out. Running wise with Derrick Henry taking a little bit of the load off of Lamar Jackson, and as far as the Commanders, yes, they're hot, but they're still young, and I think they have a very good chance of winning the NFC East. But I think this might be just one of those games that you got to lose some games, and I just think this one might be one of those. But I think it's gonna be a close game. Like it's gonna be a right down to the wire. Daniels driving down the field, 30-yard line, and just throws an interception over the middle to close out the game. Like that type of close game.
See, I struggled with this one because, again, I don't trust the Ravens. They're very inconsistent still. They were inconsistent last week. Should have lost last week, which is what I was really worried about. And if we're going to be honest, if the Bengals don't cock that up, the Ravens lose last week.
Yeah.
So I think that was more of a Bengals loss than a Ravens win. But do they then come around from that and kind of go, because again they're very inconsistent. They'll play good, play bad, play good, play bad, play good, play bad. Is this a case where they played bad last week but still won, and now they're going to play good this week at home and take care of business? The Washington defense still leaves me concerned a little bit, especially when you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson there in the backfield being able to run for you the way that they have been doing. But Jaden Daniels is ripping it up, and at this point, you'd have to say that he's the real deal. He's putting up numbers that are historic numbers for a rookie, and we didn't think we'd say that after C.J. Stroud last year, but here we are. And so, my only concern, really, with this game would, you know what?
Uh-oh.
You know what? Yeah, you know what's coming. You already know what's coming.
Well, Omaha or shake it off.
We're gonna Omaha this, baby. We're gonna Omaha this. I'm switching it up. I'm switching to pick. I'm gonna pick the Commanders. I have to. I just think I don't know. Again, I had picked the Ravens. I was like, oh, this is gonna come back and bite me in the ass. But I just don't trust the Ravens yet.
Okay.
And there's something about this Washington team. Maybe it is just Jaden Daniels. Maybe it is the connection that he has with Terry McLaurin, or Dan Quinn is again doing a fantastic coaching job there in the D.C. metropolitan area in Landover, Maryland. There, so maybe that's what it is, but. Yeah, I again, you know what it is? This is more of my lack of faith in the Ravens than it is, I think, in my confidence of the Commanders. I think I just don't trust the Ravens yet. They are very inconsistent. So I switch it up, baby. We're just switching it up. So I got Washington over Baltimore. You have the Landover football team of Risking Commanders losing to the Ravens. Up next, we have
you did this once before too, where you switch your pick on the show.
And I think
Do you remember
lost.
how that went, or
I think it lost.
Okay.
I think it lost.
Say,
I always advise people not to switch their pick. I remember we had ELS in the chat a while ago, and he was like, "Damn, I forget which game it was he was talking about. He's like, I had picked this game, and then I switched it, and now it screwed me over." And I was like, "Always stick with your gut. Always go with your first pick. Never switch up." And then here I am. I'm like, "I'm going to switch this pick. I'm going to switch it." So there we go. I've got that. I've got the football team of Redskins Commanders. You have the Ravens. Next up is the Arizona Cardinals taking a trip up to Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Packers 3-2. The Cardinals 2-3 with a win last week. 1-point win over the San Francisco 49ers, who we just saw on Thursday night, win against Seattle. Jimbo, you have the Packers. I have the Cardinals. Why did you pick the Packers?
I'm surprised you took the Cardinals.
Really? I don't think you should be surprised at that at all.
Had to mute it for a second because the ice is ready.
The ice is ready. That's what. Don't mute that. That's one of my favorite parts. Ah, boo.
You have to put an ice is ready.
Yeah, I got to get an ISIS ready
counter.
graphic. Yeah.
The Cardinals, I think they may be the only team in the NFL right now that I may have figured out. Everybody else, I'm still trying to figure out what everybody's doing. They're going to be a team that every game is going to keep it close. They may win by 1, they may lose by 2, but it's always going to be close. That game against the Bills, what was it, the first week or second week of the season? Those first 2 weeks that they went 2-0, I don't think they're a top 5, top 10 team, but they're going to make things fun. Green Bay, as Jordan Love makes his way back into the lineup here, this is his second week back?
Yes.
Okay.
Third.
Third week?
His first week was with the Vikings, then last week with the Rams, which and I'll get into that when I make my picks, but that was it. Yeah. He has some interesting throws and decision making, which again can turn out good or bad, but continue.
And I'm not saying it's rust because it's not rust. He was only out for 2-3 weeks. I think the more he plays, the little bit more he'll calm down with those stupid throws. Plus, he's getting some weapons back. So that's also going to help the offense. I just think that the Green Bay is better than Arizona on paper. And I think Green Bay pulls it out.
Again, Green Bay had trouble with the Rams last week. And I mean, the one thing you think of is the Will Levis-esque throw out of the end zone from Jordan Love, just making a bad decision there, which you go from something bad and you make it worse, not great. And I look at the Cardinals, and much to what you're saying, the Cardinals are a team that are going to be there. They're going to be right there on you. They're going to keep it close. Again, I think the Packers secondary is very good, so that might limit on the connection that he has with Marvin Harrison Jr. And some of his other receivers there. It's going to be dependent on how Kyler Murray is able to get out of the pocket, maybe make some things happen with his legs, extend the play to kind of work his receivers open, as it were, and if not, maybe be able to take off and use that to his advantage. Use the fact that he is legally, I think, about an inch or two above midget size, so and able to go ahead.
Don't say that around my mother. You know, she says she's 5 foot, but we all know she ain't 5 foot.
Well, I mean, look at my wife. I love her to death, but she's 5 foot. Yeah. She is 5. She's right there at midget, and I'm 6'8". So again, that's always a weird thing when we're walking around. People see a 5 foot woman with a 6'8" man. It's very weird. But that's what I'm saying. Like, use that to your advantage. Try to sneak around, do a little lollipop guild, end around or whatever you're gonna do. But again, there's something about the Cardinals team that kind of strikes me as, again, they're gonna be there at the end of the game with all of these games. The only one they really weren't was against Washington, where they got blown out. But they kept it close with the Bills. They kept it close with the Lions. They blew out the Rams. And now they're going to a Green Bay team that isn't playing all that consistent yet. And I think you have to worry about that when it comes to Jordan Love. Like, how much longer is it going to take for him to get up to speed, if you will, on the season? Will this be better for him? Will this be the week that he does it? I don't know. But I think the Cardinals can go up there and do some damage, do some work in Lambeau. And so, yeah, and plus I just like I like the logo. I like the Cardinals, They got to work on the uniform a bit. They just redid it, but they kind of cocked that up a couple years ago, so they really got to redo that. But outside of that, I like the Cardinals. So that's why I go with the Cardinals over the Packers. You have the Packers over the Cardinals. The next game, we're not going to spend too much time on this one. Texans over the Patriots. It is currently a 97% to 3% pick from the public. And listen, the Texans could show up there with their second string. And listen, Drake May. It's not un patio, it's fede, it's spirito sancti.
Make sure you got the holy water.
I was gonna say, man, like I feel bad. I guess if you're the Patriots and you're Gerard Mayo, you're like, what can you lose? And it's like, well, you could lose your number one draft pick that you had last year when his rib is sticking out of his rectum. But I'm not exactly confident. This Patriots offensive line is giving me PTSD flashbacks to the Giants last year. It's not great. It's not great, Jimbo. I don't think it's a great situation for Drake May. I don't think it's a great situation for the Patriots. They will be wearing their throwback Pat Patriot uniforms, though,
okay.
so it's good. They're going to look beautiful while they're getting absolutely murdered.
The only thing I would want to add is if I'm Drake May's mom or dad, I would dress him up like from the Little Giants bubble wrap. Just put bubble wrap all the way around him and walk him out there. The little snotty kid.
See, you have a flak jacket for your flak jacket. That protects your other flak jacket. See, it makes sense. But yeah, we both have the Texans. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Now we go up to another division game here. This is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New Orleans Saints. The Saints started off hot at 2-0. Scoring 44 points or more in their first two games against the Panthers and against the Cowboys. The Cowboys one is what really opened people's eyes. But that was before we realized that the Cowboys might be frauds and suck. So, but since then, they've lost 3 straight, 2 very close games, and then they lost on Monday night to the Chiefs, who played maybe their best game of the season. They are on a bye now. And then you have the Buccaneers, who...
I'm sorry, you broke up there. Did you say the Chiefs played their best game or the refs played their best game for
Jesus
the Chiefs?
Christ. You just can't let it go. You just keep on. You got to push the buttons, don't you? You got to push the buttons. You just got to be like, oh, you're going to be that guy. You're going to be that guy. You're going to be like, oh, the refs got it. Ooh. It happens with every team that's good. It's always like, and then I try to stand up for it, and then I become a Chiefs apologist. Oh, you gotta get Mahomes' dick out of your mouth. Oh, are you calling yourself Taylor Swift too? Because it seems like you got Kelsey's dick in your mouth. Shut up. Like common sense, people. Let's use logic here. Logic.
I'm done.
Anyway, see, that's the only reason you do it. That's the only reason you do it is to piss me off and to get me going here, and then my blood pressure's up. Now I'm all pissed and I'm rambling off like a psychopath here, and it's all your fault. Son of a bitch.
Gotcha.
Buccaneers. They have been a little inconsistent, but they've been more consistent than the Saints have been. Baker Mayfield's looked good. Mike Evans has looked good. Chris Godwin has looked good. They're playing in the Dome. But Derek Carr is out. They will be starting their rookie, Spencer Rattler, will the Saints be. And we both picked the Buccaneers. And I think that's a lot of the reason why is the Saints have not looked great like they did the first 2 games. Their offense has not been as crisp, as sharp as they have been the first 2 games. They have not scored the amount of points we thought they would. And now you have Derek Carr injured. You got Spencer Rattler coming in. Why wasn't he the backup last week? If now you're going to have him starting, why was he not good enough to be the backup last week, but now is good enough to be the starter this week? That would be my question to Dennis Allen. But for now, like I said, I think the Buccaneers are the better team, and even though they're playing in a dome, which is a tough place to play, I agree. I think we got to go with the Buccaneers on this one.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I agree with everything you said there. Majority of my decision was because Rattler is starting. And, we're talking about Seattle being the fraud. I mean, New Orleans screams fraud. Started off, like you said, 2-0, 40-plus points a game, and now they're 2-3 and lost their last three games. So they scream fraud.
No, unfortunately for the Saints. And again, can they turn it around? Sure. Will they? I don't know. But here's the thing. I think when you have Robert Saleh already now being fired by the Jets, I think for a lot of these other coaches, like Dennis Allen there in New Orleans, like Taylor in Cincinnati, like maybe in the next game coming up here, you're going to have some of the owners and some of the people looking over and being like, you know what? That hot seat is getting super hot, and we want to get a jump on looking at who our next coach is going to be. So get the fuck out. So the Saints, and for the Saints, I think they have to try to turn it around rather quickly here. But I don't think they're going to do it against the Buccaneers. Next game, oh doggy! Oh, this one could be just the critical mass, ground zero, nuclear level event. This one could be if it all breaks down. First of all, I'm going to say this. I think you're fucking stupid. I'm just going to put. You're Frank the Tanking this one, and I don't like it. You're better than that, Jimbo. And I love Frank. Don't get me wrong. I love Frank. Known him for 25 years. But this is a Frank the Tank pick for you because you're just doing this because out of pessimism, out of spite, out of wanting to get rid of Sirianni, whatever it is. But we do have the Cleveland Browns at 1-4 going up against the Eagles, who are 2-2, coming off a bye. They are at home at Lincoln Financial Field. This is a game that we will be covering right here on Stay Tuned Sports with our live play-by-play and reaction watch-along. So please join us for that. By the way, if you like what you're watching here, please like, share, subscribe. Helps us out tremendously. Jimbo, first of all, tell me why your dumbass decided to go ahead and pick the Browns in this game. Despite everything, despite the fact how much you hate to go, I want you to use your logic, use your thinky brain, use your communication skills, which you do have. Despite the fact that we make fun of your Jimbo Gwidge and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You have communication skills. Please use your logic and explain to me why you're picking the Browns, who are still starting Deshaun Watson, over your hometown Philadelphia Eagles.
It's going to be weird to say, but our defense I don't think is good enough right now for any team. And I'm not saying Deshaun is going to put up 500 yards, but Deshaun could put up 80 yards, and whoever the Browns running back is could put up 150, and they'll still beat us. Just because Sirianni doesn't go for the points. He never does. And the only thing that made me think about switching it to Philly was, you kind of liked him too, but my boy Dijon is starting in the nickel spot now over Avonte Maddox. Avonte Maddox, a couple years ago, the Super Bowl run and everything, he was our guy, nickelback guy. He just misses tackles now. He misses coverages now. Like, he's just not good. So now we're starting to get some pieces in there that maybe, we'll wake some of these guys up like, shit, my job's not safe. They're bringing rookies in when I'm here in the league for 7-8 years. But I just have no faith in Nick Sirianni whatsoever.
Okay.
With the calls.
Okay. As little faith as you might have in the Eagles and Nick Sirianni and his ability to make play calls, and that's a legitimate concern as an Eagles fan, I would imagine. As concerned as I would be, with Jalen Hurts and his turnover rate and problem that he seems to have. You are getting A.J. Brown and Deshaun back. I think it was
Dijon's going to be starting, but Devontae Smith.
That's it. Devontae Smith. We always fuck up his name.
And Lane Johnson.
You have Lane Johnson coming back to the offensive line. So this is the most complete the Eagles have been since opening weekend.
Yeah.
I think if the Eagles still were down to all their second and third stringers, they still win this game. Because you're talking about how inconsistent the Eagles are and how Sirianni is with his play calling. Have you no faith in him? You have no faith in the Eagles' offense. You have no faith in the Eagles' defense to be able to stop anybody. Unless Deshaun Watson got struck by a bolt of lightning and either that woke up his quarterback powers and he's able to go ahead and become a good quarterback again, or if it incapacitates him and they have to put in Jameis Winston. Unless one of those two things happened with that lightning strike, probably coming from some higher power, whichever one you might believe in, because Deshaun Watson is a shitty human being.
Yeah.
That's the only ways I think the Browns have a chance. Now, again, as a Giants fan, would it be hilarious if the Eagles were the only NFC East team to lose to the Browns? Absolutely. Would I be laughing my ass off the entire stream, just being like, man, I cannot wait to see Sirianni get fired? Absolutely. I would love it. It would make my Sunday. It almost as much as a Giants win on Sunday night would. It would just be, it would be the tits. It would be just the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. Like it's just not gonna happen. As much as I hate the Eagles, and as much as Jimbo, come.
It's Nick
Come on.
Sirianni.
Come on. Come on. You're at home. You're it's not gonna happen.
I'm
This is
surprised
gonna
the
be
tickets aren't I'm surprised the tickets aren't being sold for $5 and get 2 free hot dogs.
that sounds like a good deal, actually. But not only because here's the thing, even if this game is close, Philadelphia might explode.
Oh yeah.
Like so my feeling like I think this is a whole team thing. I think they come out of the bye. I think they come out guns blazing. I think they have it almost feels like they have a desperation feel to them, especially with how Washington is playing. They want to try to keep pace with the Cowboys and maybe the Giants now too. Like we'll see. Like all of a sudden the NFC East has gotten really kind of tight. And that you really, if you're the Eagles, you can't afford another loss, and especially a loss to the Browns would be such a horrific loss.
Yeah.
Like that would be how he goes on the field and fires Sirianni before he even walks in the locker room kind of deal. If you lose to the Browns, it will be that level of catastrophe.
Yeah.
And as fun as I would want that to be and see that and witness that, it's not going to happen. So I do have the Eagles winning. For some reason, you went the Frank the Tank route and picked the Browns. Because this guy doesn't know what to do. He's got his heads in the clouds ever since the All-Star game.
There's only 2 things I want to say when you're done.
I'm done. I did my Frank the Tank impersonation, so I'm done.
If the Browns do win and there's people that need to be fired in the Eagles organization,
Right.
Howie Roseman better not be one of them. And a couple years ago, I was on the fire Howie bandwagon there.
Yes, you were 1,000%.
This is not Howie's fault. Yes, a couple of his drafts haven't been that good. This is strictly Nick Sirianni, just
that's
not being
how
a good coach.
Well, see that, and we'll get to them because they're the Monday night game. But that's how I feel about Joe Douglas and the Jets. Like Joe Douglas has put together a very good team for the Jets. On paper, the Jets, talent-wise, are one of the better teams. It's just there was a lot of other things going on there. I think with Saleh, with the coaching staff, maybe with the owner too, kind of just being weird. The whole Aaron Rodgers situation. I still think that Joe Douglas put that team into his only real bad pick was Zach Wilson, and I think, as I discussed earlier, I think the Zach Wilson thing might be a lot more on Saleh than we wanted to think. Just based on how he had zero control over that locker room. So, all that being said, I agree with him on that one. Like, there are some GMs out there that look like they might get the blame for stuff. But, like, Howie Roseman shouldn't face any consequences for that because he's done his best. And I mean, people talk about the magic of Howie Roseman and how he's put together a team. And it just seems like that the coaching staff and the players have kind of let him down in that aspect. And the Eagles have been subpar so far this year. Let's see if they come out of the bye any better. I think they will. You're Captain Pessimism, so we'll see.
And then the only other thing too is I want to know what deal Philly
what DILF?
made.
Oh my God, that's it. What have you been watching, Jimbo? Oh my God.
Delete history. What deal they made it with the devil, Philly did, because since the Super Bowl, 2017 Super Bowl, the Eagles have lost the Super Bowl, have just completely imploded for the past year and a half. The Phillies have just completely imploded every year.
What kind of deal with the devil? What are you talking about? Your team has won the Super Bowl like 7 years ago, was in another Super Bowl 2 years ago. The Phillies won a World Series not too long ago. We're in 2 World Series since then as well. Are usually one of the top teams in the NL East or in the National League in and of itself. The Sixers have been better, but they keep on collapsing in the playoffs. That's just is what it is, fuck Embiid and all that kind of stuff. And the Flyers are the Flyers. So
ever since 2017, Every Philadelphia
But that's
sports
not
team has
since
imploded.
2017. Philadelphia sports have had more. Go talk to the people of Cleveland. Go talk to the people of Detroit. Go talk to those people about what is. I mean, but again, even there, like the Red Wings, they're. It's been a couple years since they were, perennial playoff team and cup contenders, but they still got all those goddamn banners up there. You know what I mean? The Pistons, again, it's been a little bit, but they're up there. You look at Cleveland. They had the Cavaliers won a couple years ago. Like I want to say, like 6-7 years ago, dude. But outside of that, what does Cleveland have? You look at some of these other markets and other teams. It's like, dude, Philadelphia has not had it bad. So let's relax on that.
We've been imploding, but on to the next game.
All right, the next game is we have the Colts going up against the Titans. It does look like Joe Flacco is going to start this game as well against Will Levis, and the Titans coming off a bye. They are 1-3. The Colts are 2-3. They are playing down in Nashville at Nissan Stadium, and we both have the Colts. I'm pretty sure, again, right now it's a 73% to 27% public pick on this one. I think that's a little high on the Titans, but maybe just people don't have faith in the Colts. I don't know. But I gotta tell you, Titans got to show something.
Yeah.
Before I can pick them. And the Colts with Joe Flacco, they're good. Like I said, unfortunately they lost to Jacksonville, which is their bugaboo team. It seems like no matter who plays for them, where they're playing or who's the quarterback or how many. I think this is the 11th straight loss that the Colts have had in Jacksonville against the Jaguars. They cannot win down in Jacksonville, down there by the St. Johns River. So I don't know how else to explain that other than being some kind of spiritual juju, bugaboo, voodoo magic. But I mean, it clearly looks like that. But up against the Titans, I think you got to go with the Colts here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Colts are a better team with Joe Flacco starting compared to Anthony Richardson at this point of Richardson's career. Maybe a season from now, we could say something different. But again, going up against Will Levis, I'm more interested to see what the meme is than them winning. So, if with Flacco starting, I think the Colts win.
Yeah, I think this is clearly a Colts win. We got Big Nips in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what's up, Big Nips? He's got a question here, and just quick, and we'll answer this because we're going to get to that game soon. Once we get down to the Sunday night game, but he says, "Hey guys, as a Bengals fan, I have to ask, do you all think that they get their shit together? I'm used to rough starts every year, but it's usually because Burrow is hurt. This year feels different." We will discuss that a little bit when we get down to the Sunday night game where they're playing my New York Giants, and we'll see how that goes for you there, Big Nips. But I'm with you on that, at least, of the slow starts that the Bengals have had. This one does feel a little different. But we will get to that when we get down to that game. The next game we do have, though, is the Chargers and Broncos. We got different picks on this one. I've got the Broncos at home. Broncos currently with a 3-2 record, and you have the Chargers. And the public seems pretty evenly split on this as well. 56 for the Broncos, 44 for the Chargers. Jimbo, why do you have the Chargers? Coming off a bye are the Chargers.
I think the Chargers are a better team. Last week with Bo Nix with Denver, I think that might just been a just happened to be on type game. Just had a game. I think the Broncos, much like the Bears, I don't think the Broncos are a 3-2 team. They're mid-tier to slightly bottom tier. Chargers, I think 15 to 18th spot. I might even have them there with my power rankings. But I think what we saw last week with the Broncos was just like everybody clicked at the right time. The moon lined up with Mars.
No,
the right
and see, that's where I got to disagree with you. I 1,000% disagree with that one. The Broncos defense has been decent all year and getting better. And last week was a very good game for them, it seems like. And to that extent, maybe they're clicking better now than they have. But the Broncos' defense has been there. And Bo Nix has been getting better every game. And that's what you want to see from a quarterback is an improvement. And it was slow at first. Again, he's a rookie in the NFL starting, which you know how I feel about that anyway. But he has shown improvement, and every game he's gotten better. And again, the last game played a lot better. Granted, it was the Raiders, so you look at that, you take that for a grain of salt of what it is. But the Chargers have a lot of injuries. They have not been playing well. Again, they are coming off a bye, which I think, again, a lot like the Eagles. Usually you don't like an early bye, but maybe this one kind of hit them at the right spot. Or it's just like, okay, we need a chance to kind of maybe heal up. We have a lot of injuries. Joe Alt was hurt. Herbert had the high ankle sprain. You had all those things there. So it was, and they still have a lot of injuries coming out of the bye week. High ankle sprains just don't go away. And Herbert is great, and they are doing a lot better with the run. And they are doing good things. And Harbaugh is a good coach, and he's going to coach them up, and he's going to give them the best chance to win. But if we're talking about just who's playing better right now, I think the Broncos are playing a lot better. They have 3 straight wins. And it started off with that awful game against the Jets. But like we said, a win is a win. And sometimes that's just what you need. You need something dumb and ugly and gross. And it's just like, but even with all that, we won. And then they won the next week, looking good, looking a lot better. And then they won last week, looking the best they've looked all year. And that's what I mean, is you're seeing a steady improvement. And they're playing better every game. And when I see that, compared to what has been inconsistent when it comes to the Chargers. Now, they are coming off a bye. Maybe that does help them. They have extra time to prepare, game plan, look, and you give Harbaugh that kind of time to game plan against you, especially with a rookie quarterback. Maybe good things happen. I don't know. But I'm going to go with the team that I think is playing a lot better right now, who I think is hot right now, and who I think can extend that win streak to 4. And if they do that, if you get the Broncos all of a sudden have a 4-game win streak, they'll be 4-2, and really kind of solidify themselves as the number 2 team in that division. Kind of just looking up at the Chiefs like everybody is, unfortunately, as they are 5-0, despite what you do to the fucking refs. Yeah, I truly think the Broncos are on an upswing. Will they hit a swoon again at some point this year? I think so, but I don't think it's going to be this game. The Chargers are just, I think, too banged up, a little too inconsistent in their play. And listen, can they play better? Absolutely. Can they win this game? 100%. But I just think the way the Broncos are playing right now, I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one. But listen, like I said, the public is fairly split on this too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not, it's not like it's outlandish that the Chargers would win. I just happen to think that they might not. Next game up, we got the Steelers and the Raiders. We both have the Steelers in this game out in Vegas. The Raiders are just a mess. They are going to be starting AOC, not that one. They are going to be starting Aiden O'Connell out there over Minshew Mania, unfortunately. Minshew Mania did not last that long. Not last that long, unfortunately, out in Vegas. And we'll see that Antonio Pierce, may he be over his head with this one? I think that's a question you got to start asking yourself now is, should they have gone with him or not? Again, I think the Raiders missed lightning in a bottle when it came to Bisaccia. With that, and now this was kind of almost like a makeup for letting Bisaccia go for Josh McDaniels, which was such a mistake. And again, maybe this isn't the right one, but again, that Steelers defense against that Raiders offense, and the Steelers offense, again, not lighting it up, but you don't have to when you have that defense. And against the Raiders, the Raiders have Max Crosby. That's it. That's all they got. And I have much respect for Max Crosby because he hates Michael Lombardi as much as I do. So me and Max Crosby, 100% on that one. But outside of that, I got to go with the Steelers.
I do got to give Max Crosby a little shout out, though. The one play last week. Hey, Bo.
Speak up. They can't hear you. They don't know what you're saying, Bo. Yeah, but then and then the Raiders got blown out. So, Max, Don't poke the bear, baby. Don't poke that bear. And Bo, you just got Bo Nixed. You got bonered by Bo Nix. You got that big Nix energy. So anyway, yes, we both have the Steelers in that game. Coming up next, then we have the Falcons against the Panthers, and again, this one seems fairly obvious. 98% of the people are picking the Falcons. We are amongst the 98% picking the Falcons. The Panthers had that one feel-good week against the Raiders when they started the Red Rifle, Red Rocket, whatever you want to call them. And since then, it's been all downhill. But the Falcons, again, inconsistent. They can play well. And again, as we saw with Kirk Cousins throwing 508 yards on that Thursday night game last week. I mean, he's got the weapons. Drake London looks good. Mooney looks good. They still kind of have to figure out what's going on with Bijan and try to somehow work Kyle Pitts more into the offense. But outside of that, again, I think they're playing well, a lot better than the Panthers are. They're 3-2. Panthers are 1-4. This game is in Carolina, but I think this one's fairly easy to pick. That's going to be the Falcons.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like you said, they only had that 1 week when Andy Dalton started, and that normally does happen. That week that they bench the starting quarterback, bring the backup in, everybody's all right. Let's go. And they play good, and the next week just nosedive, and that's what they're doing again. It's just wash, rinse, repeat.
Next game up, we got the Detroit Lions up against the Arlington Cowboys. And we both picked the Lions on this one. Jimbo, why do you have the Lions in this game?
See, I'm contemplating switching now.
Oh,
I'm getting in my head, but that's against my thinking. Like, once I do my picks, that's it. I'm going with them.
it stays like before.
Yeah. Dallas is just, again, inconsistent. That defense is inconsistent. Detroit, with the offensive weapons they have, I think they could really run up and down the field against the Dallas defense. I saw today, as far as Dallas's offense goes, Jerry Jones comes out and said, I guess he was asked, why is Elliott's numbers or touches down? Oh, we're saving him. This is not 2020 or whenever he was a rookie in the NFL, and he could take 300 carries at the end of the season. And
Elliott's been around a lot longer than that. You're saying he's a rookie in 2020. You're way off.
Well, no, I know I was way off. I just didn't want to say, hey, 2005 and be like, that much. But Detroit, I just think, okay, they had that one bad game early on, and I think they bounced back from it, and they're back to being the new Detroit Lions. So I think that's why they're going to beat Dallas.
Again, Dallas, super inconsistent, have not played well on the offensive side of the ball. Again, when you look at that game against the Steelers, did not play well offensively or defensively. Dak had he threw an interception that just you can't throw right in the end. Like, it just, watching that, I was like, you can't throw that pass. So he has not played well. The Cowboys have underperformed. They were lucky to get out of Pittsburgh with a win. Detroit, again, is always tough. They're playing gritty football. Sometimes it feels like they play down to their opponent. But this almost, again, we'll see if there's some kind of referee shenaniganry that happens, as it always seems to happen down in Arlington when the Lions go play the Cowboys. It never fails. Whether it was the playoff game where there was the pass interference on the Cowboys and then they picked it up, the flag, and said, "Oh no pass interference. Never mind." It's like, what? How do you do it? And then Cowboys fans were all like, "Oh, one play doesn't change a game, Lions fans." Oh, then the next week was the whole Dez didn't catch it. Yeah. And the Cowboys fans start screaming, "Oh my God!" And I loved it because everybody was like, "Hey, Dallas fans, one play doesn't make a game. What are you talking about? One play doesn't make a game." Oh, it was the best Schadenfreude ever. I don't care. In my mind, Dak didn't catch it. He didn't catch it. Not Dak. Dez. He never caught it. He didn't keep control. Fuck Dallas. Fuck Dez Bryant. hold on to the ball next time. But yes, I go with the Lions. Again, I think they're playing more consistently. They're playing tougher games. They're playing grittier games. But, and not only that, but the Dallas offensive line is not good. Again, they lost a lot of pieces in the offseason. I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to have a lot of one-on-one personal time with Dak Prescott in the backfield in this game because Aiden Hutchinson is a weapon. My man he's a problem. He's an absolute problem for everybody in the NFL. So for that reason, I'm going with the Lions. Sunday night, the game that's got everybody pissed off. The game that everybody said, it shouldn't be there. Should get the hell out of here. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals against the New York Giants. And me and Jimbo, it's hilarious this week because you picked the Browns and I picked the Eagles. And now here it is. You picked the Giants and I've picked the Bengals. Jimbo, Giants getting 25% of the public vote. Why did you pick the New York Football Giants in this game?
Well, I mean, one, I have more faith in the Giants team than my Eagles against any other team. But the Bengals, much like the person in our chat there, I forget what the name was.
Big Nips. It's like Big Nipples own Big Nipples own nice. So, but and they are Big Nipples are nice. I'll give them that. But I'm just gonna go with Big Nips for now. And
I kind of agree with him that we're all used to slow starts of the Bengals, but here it is, week 6, and we're still waiting for them to come out of it and start putting some wins together. The Giants, on the other hand, I mean, Neighbors is officially out for this week, but he needs to get his act together.
I got things to say.
When I saw the Travis Scott concert 2 days ago, or was it last?
I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday, I'm like, I'm not gonna say nothing yet because I'm not gonna get got. Like I always get got. And then when I saw them ask Dable the question, I was like, oh, okay, we got a little smoke. Even with Neighbors out,
I saw that.
I think Danny Dimes can beat the Bengals with the I was gonna say weapons you guys have, but you really only have Neighbors.
Well, listen, if Slayton can hold on to the ball, and the same with Wandale, like if they can actually hold on to the ball when it's thrown to them, they can be weapons. Here's the thing: no, the Giants have played better every week. They have improved every weweek. Daniel Jones has looked better every week. Again, he threw 2 deep passes last week that were actually completed. One of them for a touchdown. So, because that's the whole thing. Oh, Daniel Jones can't throw the ball downfield, and it's like, watch me, woo! And it's like, it takes you by surprise. It's like, holy shit, he threw a deep pass, and it was completed. It was on target. Holy shit! As a Giants fan, it surprises you even. The defense has been playing so much better. That defensive front 7 has been playing better. So again, yes, the Giants have improved. The Bengals, again, they look at, but they're they're 1-4, but the 4 games they lost are by 1 score or less. Well, not less, but they're by 1 score. It's a 1 possession loss with all of these losses they had. Joe Burrow had 5 touchdown passes last week. And I don't know if you know about this, Jimbo, but the New York Giants secondary fucking sucks. Our secondary is not great.
So does Cincinnati's defense.
So, but but also Daniel Jones isn't Joe Burrow. And Darius Slayton isn't T. Higgins. And we don't have a Jamar Chase. That would be Malik Neighbors, but he's too busy recovering from his concussion by seeing flashing lights and loud noises. So,
loud noises.
So, being a Giants fan, obviously I'm going to be rooting for the Giants in here. As we see, I see Big Nips there in the chat, and he's talking about, yes, I did see that Hilton had he called the players only meeting for the defense to try to rally them. He says the offense and the O-line has been phenomenal this year. But it's the D. Sometimes the D will let you down. It happens, especially as you get a little bit older. And he's saying that the Giants secondary is better than the Bengals secondary. I would beg to differ. There, Big Nips. I really would like to beg to differ on that one. So the here's the thing, and I think this will be where the Giants get a chance in this game, is the Giants front seven. If they can get to Joe Burrow early enough to where he can't get the ball off.
Yeah.
Like if you can disrupt the passes, if you can get into that backfield and disrupt him before he can get the ball to Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, you got a shot.
Yeah.
You have a shot in this game. And the Giants' defensive front, the way they've been playing so far in these last couple games, like we saw them in Seattle, they can do that. They can. But how often will they be able to? And all it's going to take for the Bengals is to hit 2 or 3 shots deep down the field, which they can do rather easily, and this game can get out of control very quickly. I love the Giants. I'm going to be rooting like hell for the Giants. I would love to see us pull to 3-3, but this just feels, again, it's Danny Dimes in prime time. The Giants in prime time are never good in prime time. I know that's why people are pissed that they're seeing the fucking Giants again in prime time. And as much as I would love to see the Giants pull this one out, it feels like this is a Bengals win. But much to like what Big Nips was saying before in the chat, this feels like a much different Bengals slow start. Like we're used to the slow starts before, where they'll be 1-2, 2-3, 2-4, whatever it is. But it's like, okay, it feels like they'll get better. It feels like once Joe Burrow kind of hits his stride. Well, now we've seen in the last couple games, Joe Burrow has hit his stride, and they're still losing games. And now, again, I think that's the difference thing. It's like you're seeing Joe Burrow throw all these passes and get 5 touchdown passes against the Ravens, and they get to overtime, and it seems like they have the chance, but then they have some really bad play calling on after the Lamar turnover in overtime, and then McPherson misses the kick, and that all kind of falls apart. So, again, you have a game where the Bengals should have won, and it feels like they lost more than the Ravens won. It just... Again, I agree with him in the chat, Big Nips, the Bengals fan, that this slow start feels different. I think the Bengals do get this game, though. I am surprised to see that 25% of the public is with the Giants, though. I thought that would be a lot lower of a number. But I guess some people are kind of a little off on the way the Bengals have been playing. So that is something you have to think about. But my problem is that I've seen the Giants too much, and it's like I can't put my faith in them yet until I see better, consistent play from everybody, and especially that secondary. Big Nips, 1,000% that this is an absolute must-win for the Bengals. The Bengals cannot lose this game.
Yeah,
and I think that's the other thing we can't dismiss either. You can't manufacture desperation. Is how the old saying goes. And the Bengals are in a desperate situation. They cannot lose this game.
Yeah.
And I think the Giants are in much of the same boat as they can't lose the game. They can't fall too much further behind in the NFC East. But it feels like it's a much more desperate situation for the Bengals, considering how the Ravens are playing. The Ravens now already have a game up on the Bengals because they beat them. The Steelers are falling back a little bit, but now are within striking distance. But you have all these other teams, except the Browns. Actually, you're on level with the Browns. But and that's the part you have to think about. As good as Joe Burrow is, as many points as the Bengals are putting up, you're still on par with Deshaun Watson and the fucking Browns?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. So I think this 1,000,000% is a must-win for the Bengals. It's going to be a desperate game for the Bengals. And desperate teams are dangerous teams. And I think that's why I went with the Bengals here, simply because they physically can't lose this game. And you're going to see every single one of these players, especially on the defense, go above and beyond whatever their skill level is. They're going to try. They will break bones and sinew trying to make sure that they win this game. If it has that kind of desperate feel there for the Bengals. So that's why I picked the Bengals. You're going with the Giants. I certainly hope that you're more right than I am on that case. And then we got the last one here, Monday night, and boy, oh boy, the drama that's going to be involved with this one. This is going to be the talking point. People are going to love talking about this shit. We have the Buffalo Bill, the Orchard Park Bills. Sorry about that. The Orchard Park Bills going up against the Florham Park, New Jersey Jets. That everybody wants to call them, the Jersey Jets and Jersey Giants or do whatever like that. I'm calling all the other teams by where they actually play because a lot of them play farther away from their town origin than the Giants or Jets do. But, thank you so much, Big Nips. We can't wait to see you. We'll be streaming on Sunday night, the Giants and Bengals game. We'll be right here. We will see you on Sunday night. Thanks for joining us. Bills, Jets, Jimbo. Who you got?
I got the Jets, and especially now after yesterday, I feel a little bit even more confident that the Jets could beat the Bills. When I did my picks, I believe it was the day that Saleh got fired. So already the team got better just by him getting fired. And then yesterday with the interim head coach announcing that Downing is going to be the
Downing's doing the play calling instead of Hackett. I don't know how good that's going to be because Downing is not great in the time that he had as well. But maybe it's just something different, and maybe that'll help.
And that's what I'm thinking is, as my dogs are running around upstairs like it's Devontae Adams up there running away from the Raiders. I think with that fresh set of eyes, calling the plays, I think that's going to help the offense out. Their defense is their defense. They're a good defense. By no means do I think the Jets run away with this game. I think, again, this could be a very competitive, one-score different game. I'm curious because now that the latest team that is, speaking of Devontae Adams, in the rumor mill is the Bills may be interested in trading for him. So if the Bills lose,
how desperate do they get, and how much do they up their offer to try to get him?
Yeah. But on the flip side of that, they just, I forget which, like Ryan Clark or LaShawn McCoy, one of the pundits said, why would they trade for Devontae Adams? They just got out of that situation with Stephon Diggs.
Devontae is not the headache that Stephon Diggs is.
Was.
Yeah. He's not.
So I think it's going to be a good game either way, though, and I'm going with the Jets.
I'm going to go with the Jets as well. Again, the Bills are... I don't know what's up with the Bills. I really don't. Josh Allen not playing well these last two games. Again, we thought we knew who the Bills were. And I was like, after that Ravens game, I'm like, oh, we're going to get angry Josh Allen. He's going to be in Houston. Man, I feel bad for Houston, man, because Buffalo's going to go down. And, boy, did he fucking suck down there. And all of a sudden, it's like, what? And still the Bills almost won the game, but he didn't play well.
Yeah.
And, again, then you look at that, and, like, the Bills get the ball back. They can win the game. All they have to do is kind of run the clock out. And they throw the ball 3 times, 3 incompletions, which leaves no time off the clock. They milked, I think, 8 seconds total off the clock. They punted it away to Houston. Houston's able to get in field goal range, and Fairbairn can hit that son bitch from long way down there. And, of course, the Texans go ahead and win the game at the last second. And it's like bad time management, bad play calling. Josh Allen has not played well at all in these last 2 games. Now there's an absolute shit ton of questions when it comes to the Bills. Now I'm not saying that the Jets don't have questions either, and we're going to have massive questions when it comes to the Jets when it comes to this game. But a couple things: they are playing at home. Again, you got the new coach bump, and I'm sorry, it's a real goddamn thing, man. You look at the statistics for all these teams that how they play the week after they fire their head coach. The new coach bump is an absolutely 100% thing. We'll see if maybe having Downing in there calling the plays and just doing something different changes anything for the Jets, for Aaron Rodgers, for this offense. If they try to do anything more complex than what they've been doing, which is something I think that they absolutely 100% need to do because they've been far too predictable, and it makes picking off Aaron Rodgers very easy. Defenses know exactly what they're doing. I mean, that's why Van Ginkel was able to go ahead and get his I think I saw a stat there that he's had 5 interceptions in his career, and 4 of them have been pick sixes.
Holy shit.
Insane. Yeah, Van Gink, man. You getting kinky with Van Ginky. But again, there's something about this game that feels like the Bills are still on a downward trend, and you would have hoped that the game in Houston you would have seen something more, something better, but instead you saw them get worse than they got in the Ravens game somehow. And again, even though it was a closer game and they should have won it if they just would have had better play calling and clock management, that's the thing. It's the little things. It's the minutia that they're getting wrong as well. And it's costing them games. And that's the difference. It's like we've seen the Chiefs play poorly, but win games because they get the little things in the big moments right. The Bills could have done that last week. And again, in the big moments, the little things they got wrong. And it cost them the game. And that's the difference between good teams and great teams. So, again, we'll see what happens Monday night. It feels like this is just a game for the Jets. No matter how the rest of the season goes, this feels like at least the post-coach firing bump is gonna be something there. Everybody in that team seems to love Ulbrich. He's got everybody's respect. Everybody seems to like him. And again, he got named interim head coach, and his first thing to do was like Aaron Rodgers, the guy that everybody says that you hear is your favorite. I'm benching that motherfucker. He is away from it. He's gonna get everybody coffee. He's a gopher now. He's gonna be the Dunkin' guy. If you want to get a latte, you go to him. You have any offensive questions, go to Downing. And Aaron Rodgers has had to accept that. So it seems like he's already got a decent command of the team. He's not sitting there like, ooh, well, I think maybe we'll go or maybe we'll switch like Saleh was, because Saleh, I think, again, didn't have very good command of the locker room or the team. And you know, now he gets $20,000 for sitting on his ass every day. Must be nice. Must be nice, Robert. But yeah, there we go. That is our picks for week 6 here in the NFL. Maybe we get another wild, wacky week. Maybe we don't. I have no idea. But I think at this point, there's going to be something that happens that's surprising. Whether it is the Browns winning, whether it's the Giants winning, whether it's the Panthers winning, maybe beating the Falcons, or the Raiders somehow beating the Steelers at home. I don't know. It's going to be something fucking wacky that's going to happen, or a wacky finish, or something going on, because that just seems to be the way that it is here in the NFL this year. Just something weird's going to happen. If not, multiple things are going to happen weird this week. Jimbo, you got the BKFC coming up tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern right here. You're going to be watching along with that as they fight over in España in a actual bull ring. So that's a little on the nose symbolically. If just a couple of you mess with the bulls, you get the horns, man. This is
full blown. Conor McGregor put this together because he's part owner now of BKFC. So this was all him. So every fight, everything, it was him. So that is something that you will be covering here on Stay Tuned Sports live reaction and watch along. So if you guys are into the BKFC, join Jimbo tomorrow right here at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have the Browns and Eagles game coming up at 1 o'clock, which we'll be watching along with him. Boy, that one could get interesting. That one could be fun. And then, of course, Sunday night, the Cincinnati Bengals at the big HVAC unit in East Rutherford, New Jersey, take on the New York Giants. I will be with you for that one all by my lonesome, as Jimbo, has responsibilities. I don't. I'm a loser. But thank you for joining this loser and your good friend Jimbo right over there. This has been the Friday Forecast. Again, Jimbo will see you tomorrow. We'll see you all on Sunday. Everybody, have yourself a great and fantastic Friday. Feel good. Feel good Friday. Feel good.